Good evening. There are more reports tonight of GTA travelers falling violently ill after staying at a Mexican resort.
Tonight, some allege the resort tried to get them to sign non-disclosure agreements in exchange for medical care.
Mexico keeps calling your name. The margaritas, the sunsets, the kind of heat that makes your whole body exhale and forget it ever had problems. But here is what the travel brochures are not showing you. Some of those gorgeous resort towns are hiding dangers that will ruin your holiday, drain your savings, and in the worst cases, put your life at real risk. Today, we are ranking 12 Mexican resort destinations from the most dangerous to the genuinely safe, so you know exactly where to spend your money and where to let someone else find out the hard way. Number 12. Acapulco.
This is not the Acapulco that most people imagine when they think of a city that used to be the playground for people like Elizabeth Taylor as well as the Kennedys.
And now
Acapulco used to be the jewel of Mexican tourism. Frank Sinatra drank here. Elvis filmed here. The cliff divers of La Quebrada have been launching themselves into the Pacific since 1934. And for several decades, this city was shorthand for glamour and a kind of effortless cool the rest of the world was unsuccessfully trying to imitate. Then the cartels arrived, the glamour packed its bags, and what remained is one of the most statistically dangerous cities on the planet. Not in Mexico, on the planet. The homicide rate has placed Acapulco at or near the top of global violence rankings for the better part of a decade. Armed robberies targeting tourists in hotel zones and on beaches are documented with grim consistency. The U.S. State Department maintains a do not travel advisory for Guerrero State, the same level as active conflict zones. Hurricane Otis made a direct hit in October of 2023 and destroyed large sections of the city. Healthcare infrastructure already strained before the storm is now operating with damaged facilities, reduced staff, and unreliable utilities. For senior travelers with existing health conditions, that combination of violence, damaged roads, and compromised medical capability is as dangerous as any scenario on this list. Cost is low, which tells you everything. The beach is genuinely beautiful. It deserves a better city around it. That city is not here yet. If Acapulco is at the bottom of this list for reasons most people have heard about, the next destination hides its problems behind a reputation that most tourists still take entirely at face value. Number 11. Mazatlan.
The mayor of a Mexican resort town caught up in a recent wave of violence insists that his city is safe for tourists.
Mazatlan is not Acapulco, and that distinction matters. The Golden Zone beachfront, the Malecón, and the restored historic center represent legitimate tourist infrastructure that has genuinely improved. The colonial architecture, the seafood, the sunsets over the Pacific, all of it is real. But Mazatlan sits in Sinaloa State, the operational heartland of one of the world's most powerful drug trafficking organizations. Violence is generally cartel on cartel rather than directed at tourists, but bystander exposure is documented and its nature is sudden and geographically unpredictable. The State Department Advisory for Sinaloa recommends reconsidering travel, one level below do not travel. For senior travelers, healthcare is limited to the private Sharp Hospital for routine care. Serious cardiac events require evacuation to Guadalajara by air. That additional gap between incident and adequate care deserves honest weight in the planning. Mazatlan can be navigated by informed, careful travelers who stay within established tourist infrastructure. It is not the destination for travelers who arrive expecting to wander freely and improvise. The next destination hides its problems behind a marketing image so polished that questioning it still feels almost rude. Number 10. Puerto Vallarta.
lockdown in Puerto Vallarta continues this morning with thousands of Canadians still stuck in their hotels and resorts.
Puerto Vallarta is genuinely lovely. The cobblestone streets of the Zona Romantica, the food culture, the art galleries, and the way the Sierra Madre Mountains come straight down to the water produce an environment that has drawn travelers for decades for entirely legitimate reasons. What the marketing does not feature is that Jalisco State has seen significant documented escalation of cartel presence. The tourist corridor itself has seen armed robbery incidents in areas visitors would have had no reason to identify as risky. For senior travelers, Puerto Vallarta actually offers one of the more reassuring healthcare situations on this part of the list. Hospital San Javier Marina handles cardiac events at a standard meaningfully above most Mexican resort alternatives. Knowing specialist care is available in the same city rather than on an evacuation flight is a genuine reassurance. Puerto Vallarta sits in Banderas Bay, which provides meaningful protection from direct storm impacts that devastate more exposed coastal destinations. For travelers planning around weather predictability, that geographic context is useful to know. The next destination has built one of the widest gaps between expectation and reality of any resort in Mexico. Number 9. Cabo San Lucas.
Popular Mexican resort of Cabo San Lucas is struggling this summer with garbage washing ashore.
The sea arch at Land's End, the deep sea fishing, the snorkeling where the Pacific meets the Sea of Cortez. For the right traveler in the right circumstances, Cabo delivers. The spring break nightlife corridor south of the marina is a different country entirely. Drink spiking, sexual assault, robbery, and aggressive confrontations in and around nightclub environments have been documented with uncomfortable frequency. Multiple U.S. citizens have died in Cabo in circumstances involving nightclubs. The investigations have not consistently produced outcomes suggesting accountability is functioning at the standard visitors would expect. For senior travelers, the resort hotels along the tourist corridor between Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo represent a genuinely different experience from the nightlife zone. Amerimed and SEMA hospitals on the corridor handle emergency cardiac care competently. The corridor is physically and operationally separated from the problems south of the marina. Cabo works very well for travelers who understand which version of Cabo they are booking. It works poorly for those who assume the whole destination operates at the level of the resort hotel lobby. The next entry surprises almost everyone who sees it here because it appears on almost every Best of Mexico list, and its problems are rarely discussed alongside its appeal. Number 8. Playa del Carmen.
Trying to get a handle and an understanding as to what this means for Canadian travelers who might be heading to Playa del Carmen. So we are still waiting to hear back from Global Affairs whether or not we'll see a change in advisories. That remains to be seen. But this is a travel warning that was issued by the American Embassy in Mexico City. And
the version of Playa del Carmen that built its reputation, quieter than Cancun, European in atmosphere, better food, genuine street life along Quinta Avenida, still exists. On a weekday morning in low season, walking past the cafes and the bougainvillea, it is easy to understand why this place became what it became. But it now shares space with a security environment that deteriorated significantly starting around 2017, when a nightclub bombing on Quinta Avenida killed 5 people. Multiple shooting incidents have followed, some in broad daylight. The State Department advisory for Quintana Roo has been at increased caution for long enough that the elevated status has almost started to feel routine. It should not feel routine. For senior travelers, healthcare has improved with Hospitin providing reasonable emergency cardiac care, and Cancun is 30 minutes north by highway for anything more serious. Playa del Carmen is not a destination to avoid outright. It is a destination to stop approaching with the assumption that felt appropriate 15 years ago. The traveler who understands which hours and areas carry elevated risk can navigate it successfully. The one who expects the atmosphere at sunset to be a reliable guide to the safety at midnight ends up in the incident report. If you are finding this list useful before you book, hit that like button right now. This kind of honest information is genuinely hard to find. Keep watching, because the next entry is simultaneously one of the most beautiful and most misunderstood destinations on this list. Number 7. Oaxaca City.
A powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake struck Mexico's southern state of Oaxaca on Tuesday local time, killing at least 2 people.
Oaxaca City is one of the most culturally extraordinary destinations in the entire country. The food scene built around mole negro, tlayudas, and mezcal, distilled in villages whose families have been doing it the same way for generations, is genuinely among the best in Mexico. Monte Alban, the colonial architecture of the Zócalo at night, the textile markets. All of it is real and all of it is worth experiencing. Oaxaca earns its position here not for violent crime, which remains relatively low, but for infrastructure and healthcare realities the destination's artisanal image consistently obscures. The city sits at 1,500 meters above sea level in a mountainous region with one main commercial airport. Getting out quickly in a medical emergency is structurally more complicated than in destinations with direct international connections. Complex cardiac cases are typically referred to Mexico City by domestic flight, an additional step in the evacuation chain that matters in time-sensitive situations. Political unrest is periodic and real. Teacher union blockades of the main highway and airport have stranded travelers for days without warning multiple times in recent years. For retirees traveling at a slower pace, Those contingency scenarios deserve to sit closer to the front of the planning conversation than the mole Negro recipes. Drop a comment right now and tell us which of these destinations you have visited and whether your experience matched what we described. We read every single one. We have 5 entries left, and this is where the list changes direction entirely. Up to this point, every destination came with serious trade-offs that are genuinely hard to manage from a beach chair. From here, that changes. The destinations left on this list are the ones that actually get the balance right. Not perfect, but consistent, predictable, and genuinely worth the flight. Number 6, San Jose del Cabo.
Are also tracking Hurricane Lorena as it heads toward the Pacific coast of Mexico. Our very own 10 News reporter Jared Aarons is in Cabo San Lucas right now on vacation. The resorts there, as you would expect, are preparing. They're boarding up windows, doors, putting down sandbags, and removing outdoor furniture. We talked to Jared about what else he's seeing there.
San Jose del Cabo sits 32 kilometers from its considerably louder sibling and shares essentially none of the nightlife corridor's problems. The art district centered on the Plaza Mijares functions as a genuine cultural environment rather than a tourist simulation of one. The Thursday evening art walk, where galleries open late and the streets fill with a relaxed mix of local residents, expats, and visitors, is the kind of organic, unhurried social event that most resort towns spend considerable marketing budgets trying to manufacture and never quite achieve. Safety is measurably better than in Cabo San Lucas. For senior travelers, the healthcare infrastructure along the corridor is shared between both Cabos. Amerimed and SEMA are accessible from San Jose as easily as from Cabo San Lucas, hospital-level care within the same tourist corridor without the nightlife zone complications. The restaurant scene has developed genuine depth over the past decade. The historic town center is walkable, the galleries are open to browsers without pressure, and the pace is genuinely unhurried in a way the more commercially intense corridor to the southwest cannot replicate. San Jose del Cabo is the Cabo that the glossy marketing version of Cabo San Lucas is always pretending to be. The next destination adjusts the Baja experience for the traveler who values natural beauty and genuine discovery over managed resort comfort. Number 5. Todos Santos.
18-year-old has been arrested in connection with robbing a lemonade stand at gunpoint in South Boston. Police say the teen is facing armed robbery and unlawful possession.
Todos Santos sits on the Pacific side of Baja, approximately 80 kilometers north of Cabo, somewhere between a designated Pueblo Mágico, an artist colony, and a surf destination that has not entirely decided what it wants to be when it grows up. That is a large part of its appeal. The Hotel California on the main street may or may not have inspired the Eagles song, depending on how much mezcal has been consumed at the time of asking. The ambiguity has become part of the local identity, and nobody is in a hurry to resolve it. Safety is high. The town is small enough that the tourism economy operates at a scale that prevents the criminal infrastructure larger destinations inevitably attract. For senior travelers, the honest caveat is that there is no hospital in Todos Santos. Serious medical events require the 90-minute drive south to Cabo San Lucas on a highway that deserves respect after dark. Comprehensive travel medical insurance with evacuation coverage is not optional here. The surf, the galleries, the farm-to-table food culture, and the organic produce market on weekend mornings all deliver for the traveler who comes specifically for them. Todos Santos is the Mexico that genuine enthusiasts have been quietly recommending to each other for 2 decades. The next destination is where Mexico's consistent safety record reaches its absolute peak. Number 4. Merida.
A Winnipeg man is in custody after a bank robbery yesterday evening. Police say around 6:30, someone went to the front counter of the bank on Corden Avenue and handed a note to the teller. They made off in a vehicle after receiving an undisclosed.
Merida is the capital of Yucatan State, 90 minutes from the Gulf Coast, and the safest large city in Mexico by nearly every independent measure that exists. Multiple global safety assessments have placed it at the top of Mexican city rankings, and among the safest in Latin America for multiple consecutive years. The Paseo de Montejo, lined with 19th century mansions built on Henequin wealth, is one of the genuinely beautiful urban promenades in the Americas. The food scene built around cochinita pibil, panuchos, sopa de lima, and the full range of Yucatecan cuisine is world-class and priced as though it does not know it yet. The cenotes accessible from Merida, freshwater sinkholes in the limestone ranging from open-sky swimming holes to cathedral-like underground chambers, are unlike anything else in the world. For senior travelers, Merida's healthcare is the most compelling argument for the city. Star Medica and Centro Médico de las Americas operate at international private hospital standards with strong cardiac and specialist capacity. The city also has a large and established expat and retiree community, meaning English language support and local knowledge infrastructure is more developed here than in most Mexican cities. The heat deserves acknowledgement. Merida from June through September is seriously hot. The shoulder seasons from October through February are considerably more manageable. Cost is low to moderate and represents some of the best value on this list. Merida delivers safety, culture, food, and history at a level very few Mexican cities can match without asking you to accept any security trade-offs. The next destination adds the beach and natural environment Merida is missing. Number 3. Isla Mujeres.
Diosa del Mar, en las inmediaciones de Isla Mujeres, esto en Quintana Roo, por lo que se desplegó un operativo de fuerzas del orden de Quintana Roo y elementos de la Secretaría de Marina.
Isla Mujeres sits 8 kilometers off the coast of Cancun and operates at a pace its giant mainland neighbor has completely forgotten how to achieve. The island is 8 kilometers long and less than 1 kilometer wide. There are no traffic lights. Golf carts are the primary transport. The North Beach at Playa Norte is a shallow, warm, turquoise water Caribbean beach that consistently appears on serious best beach rankings. On a Tuesday morning in November, it feels like a private discovery rather than a tourist destination. The seasonal whale shark encounters in the nearby waters are an experience most people describe as the best single hour of their trip. Safety is among the highest of any Mexican tourist destination. The island's small contained geography, tight-knit community, and economic dependence on repeat visitors creates a genuine protective culture around visitor welfare. Incidents targeting tourists are rare enough to be genuinely unusual when they occur. For senior travelers, the flat terrain of the main tourist area is physically accessible at any pace. Golf cart rental makes getting around straightforward. The 20-minute ferry to Cancun connects directly to Amerimed and Galenia hospitals, making the healthcare gap significantly more manageable than a more remote destination. The next destination surprises most people who encounter it here because it is a place the majority of visitors overlook entirely in favor of more famous neighbors. Number 2. Bacalar.
Drug bust weekend just across the border in Bacalar and Limones, as Mexican authorities carried out a string of high-impact operations. In Bacalar, a heavily armed task force made up of the National Guard, the Mexican Army, Navy.
The Lagoon of 7 Colors is one of the most visually extraordinary bodies of water in the Americas. The name is not marketing. The lagoon genuinely shifts through 7 distinct shades of blue and green as the depth changes, and the limestone substrate catches the light across its 42-kilometer length. You swim in it. You kayak out into the shallow flats on a clear morning when the water is so transparent the bottom looks close enough to touch. You sit in that water and understand, possibly for the first time, what people mean when they say a place changed them. Safety is genuinely high and significantly better than the Quintana Roo state advisory level might suggest. Bacalar sits in the southern interior of the state, well removed from the cartel competition for the Cancun and Riviera Maya tourism economy. For senior travelers, Bacalar requires honest acknowledgement. There is no hospital in Bacalar. The nearest adequate medical facility is in Chetumal, 45 minutes south. Serious events go to Cancun or Mexico City. Comprehensive travel medical insurance with evacuation coverage is genuinely necessary here. Cost is moderate with extraordinary value for the quality of the natural experience. Bacalar rewards the traveler who comes prepared, insures properly, and moves at the pace the lagoon suggests. What separates it from the top of this list is the single factor that matters most for a significant portion of the people watching this video. Number 1. Cancun Hotel Zone.
Mexican authorities found 8 bodies near the resort zone of Cancun. The bodies were found over the weekend as police carried out searches in wooded lots, abandoned property.
Cancun is the easiest target in the history of Mexican tourism commentary. The swim-up bars, the buffet architecture, the entertainment programming that never quite convinces you anyone involved is genuinely having fun. And yet here it is at number 1, because what the hotel zone offers is something nowhere else on this list reliably provides at scale. Consistent safety, accessible infrastructure, genuine medical capability, and straightforward international connectivity to the largest travel market in the world. Safety in the hotel zone is among the best of any Mexican resort destination. The zone functions as its own managed security environment, with tourism police presence that is visible and consistently responsive. Violent crime targeting tourists within the hotel zone is low. For senior travelers, Cancun is unambiguously the strongest healthcare destination on this entire list, and it is not a close competition. Amerimed Cancun and Galenia Hospital both operate at genuine international standards with strong cardiac, surgical, and specialist capacity. The evacuation pathway to Miami or Houston, a direct 2-hour flight on multiple daily services, is the most practical emergency evacuation option in all of Mexican resort travel. Cost ranges from moderate to very expensive depending on property. The all-inclusive model delivers genuine value on food, drink, and activities. Getting to Cancun from virtually any major North American city is as simple as any domestic flight. Getting home in an emergency is the most manageable of any option on this list. Here is the honest truth about Cancun that makes it number 1. It is not the most interesting destination on this list. Bacalar's lagoon is more beautiful. Merida is more culturally profound. Isla Mujeres is more charming. Todos Santos has better mezcal and considerably better stories. But the best Mexican resort destination is not necessarily the most beautiful or the most interesting one. It is the one that fits how you travel, what you value, and what you need to feel genuinely at ease and properly protected every single day of the trip. For travelers who have earned the right to a holiday that actually delivers exactly what it promises, that destination is the Cancun Hotel Zone. Hey, thanks for watching. Coming up next, we are ranking the safest and most genuinely beautiful destinations in Central America. And a couple of the entries are going to completely change the way you think about that entire region. Click on your left. I'll see you there.